So, you guys ready? Okay, good. So we're here with Nate, the director, and Robin, the star of See Girl Run here at South by Southwest 2012. Have you seen the film here with the crowd?
No, we're premiering in a couple of hours. A little later than a lot of the other films, but we're ready for it. We're excited.
Now, have you both been to South by Southwest before?
I've actually had 2 movies that were here and never been able to come. This is my first time, so it's exciting.
And this is my second film. My first film also premiered here a few years ago, and it was a blast then, and it's great to be back.
Now, See Girl Run is a story that seems very almost like a personal story of a woman who basically the what if question, what if the relationship could have worked from high school, goes back to sort of find out. Was it drawn from personal experiences?
Well, there are certain there are certain things about it that not directly or not explicitly from my experience, but certainly questions that I ask about my own life and how things might have been different, and then created from there, use that as a springboard. And this is somewhat well-worn territory because a lot of people go through it, and there are stories about what do we do when you hit a certain point in your life and maybe you wish you had made other choices. But I think we have a unique angle on it and take it in directions that you don't see typically in movies like this.
And now, Robin, what drew you to the script? Was it that role, basically something, a different take on this?
It was the role for sure. I mean, it's really rare that you read something that has like a great full character that's not, a superhero fighting aliens or something like that. It was a great role, and tonally I thought the film was really interesting because it wasn't a straight drama, it wasn't a straight comedy, it wasn't a romantic comedy. It was sort of, it was really interesting. It's sort of like everything's played real, but some of the situations are funny. But yeah, ostensibly it was the role, and I liked Nate's first movie, Pretty in the Face. I'd seen it, and while I didn't enjoy every single moment of it, I left, because it's hard to watch at times and really uncomfortable, but I left with like a real feeling, which I think is what you're supposed to do. Yeah.
Now your character sort of runs back home to stay at home and sort of find out if the relationship from the high school boyfriend could have been, because technically you didn't break up. That was sort of the running theme of the movie. Technically there was no breakup, with this guy from back home. Why do you think she would sort of want to just sort of see what could happen? What was going on in her life in New York that you think that was it mundane? Was it just routine?
Anybody who's been in a relationship for a long time wakes up and looks at the person in bed next to them and they've got bad breath and their stories bore you rigid, and you sort of like wonder if there's something else out there. And I think it's just, a matter of staying so that you can get to the next place, which is, even deeper and even better. But I think most people leave. And I think the idea of something being for the rest of your life is really scary. And this thing of, am I becoming my parents? And I think we all want to remain children in a way because it's more fun. And I don't know. I think relationships are hard, and I think they've sort of gotten harder, and we live longer, too. So you're going, oh, my God, I'm probably going to live until I'm 85. I'm going to be with this person for how long? Whereas when, relationships started out, people got married when they were 19, but they were dead by the time they were 30. So it was like, a good 12-year stint. That's what they were looking at. And I think people get scared. It's scary.
Now, her character obviously moved away and got married and everything, but the sort of Adam Scott character is sort of still at home, but still sort of longs for her and pines for her. She sort of moved on. She got married. She moved to a different city. Why do you think he hasn't moved on much in his life or his relationships? It's
funny because they're varying ways to read his character, but one of them is quite honorable that he's sticking to something that he believes in so much. And this is in many ways he's stunted. He is who he was when they were first together, when they were in their teenage years. And a lot of life and a lot of what this movie's about is coming to terms with the fact that sometimes it's you have to recalibrate and you have to make some changes to what you thought you wanted your life to be, because new things happen and you're growing and people around you are growing. And his character is somewhere in between, not being willing to accept that, but also being really admirable that he's still following his dream, even though his dream is keeping him where he is, and he's pursuing his arts and that sort of thing, and he's not giving up on her, and that's very alluring, I think, to her character, that there's somebody who's still there, still thinking about her, and is that real? That's really what the movie looks at. Is when you think about romance, is that real, or is it just what we considered romance when we were younger, and what is it now?
And in the movie, when your character goes back home, you don't want to see him right away. You sort of wait, and you sort of don't want to actually encounter him in any way, shape, or form. Is that part of the romance of it, that you want it to be just perfect and special? You think that character wants that moment to be just so ideal?
I think if you've been thinking about something for that long, you know, there's a certain amount of fantasy in how it's going to play out, and you sort of want to be a part of the fantasy and control it. And like the moment has to be perfect. And I do think it is a little controlling, but it's also not, you know, you're not having your feet in the real world. It's this idea of like, it's a movie, you know, and I think that she wants the moment to be like in a movie, and she's not ready to do it until she does it.
And now the brother character, basically, he's sort of at home and sort of depressed. Do you think that she sort of sees that, and basically that helps her make a decision of not wanting to be back home anymore? I mean, she obviously loves her brother and her family, but, you know, he's sort of stunted back at home, the relationship failed, depressed. Does she see that in him and go, I don't want that, I don't want to sort of be stuck back at home?
I think part of it is it enables her to see what she does have, you know, because he's really struggling. And, you know, the movie, you know, any interesting movie is about a character who's going through struggles, and her struggles are very real to her. But I think she gets some perspective from her brother who's really struggling, and in fact he's there for her, and he helps her, and you know, if we were to make the sequel, maybe, you know, his character, based on some of the things that he does to enable her to value what she does have in her life, in turn actually helps him kind of jump out of the pit that he's in.
We could see him move to New York, or visit New York and visit them and turn his life around.
After today's screening, I'll start writing that.